Alright guys, what's up? Welcome to a new video. So in today's video, we're doing something a little bit different. I got the Skiff right here loaded up on the truck. Just need to strap it down. But what we're doing today is we're doing a solo Skiff review video. So I've had the Skiff for 10 months already. I've had it for a while, so I really know what it does really well and what it kind of struggles with. So we're going to go over all of that. And also another thing is I'm not sponsored at all by anybody. Not sponsored by Solo Skiff or anyone. So this is a 100% honest review. I bought everything with my own money so I can give y'all an honest review. So there's not really a whole lot of reviews out there on it, but we're gonna go in depth, and hopefully this helps y'all out if y'all want to purchase one, or if you think you should get a kayak or something. So I have my reasons for why I bought it, and yeah, let's get into it. All right guys, so pros and cons. So I got my phone right here so I don't forget anything. Got some notes on here, but a little bit about the Skiff. So when I got it, it's really a kayak with a motor. You want to think of it that way. If you go into it thinking it can do everything a boat can do, you're probably going to be disappointed. And yeah, so they advertise it as a kayak on steroids, which it really is. They're not lying about that. So we'll get into the cons first. So some of the nitpicky stuff. So the cons. So this thing is heavy. Thing is heavy, 150 pounds, just the Skiff alone. It's built with that thick polyethylene plastic. It's thick with 2 C's, that's for sure. It's freaking heavy. 150 pounds. My outboard, 6 horsepower Suzuki, weighs 52 pounds, I believe. So that's already 200 pounds without anything on it. So loading and unloading can kind of be a pain. Way to get around that is to get a trailer, but I do not want to get a trailer. I like loading it in the back of the truck and being able to launch anywhere. So that's why I haven't gotten a trailer. Don't want to spend the extra money on it. Don't want to register it and deal with all the maintenance on that. So I just throw it in the back of my truck. I recorded myself loading it here. All right, and that's it. Now we got the outboard. So I normally put the outboard in the back of the truck because it's pretty heavy already. So let's put the outboard in the back of the truck. I normally launch at like kayak launches, like places on the side of the road. I try and stay away from boat ramps, less people. Unloading at a boat ramp is super easy, but loading at a boat ramp can be kind of a pain, especially after a long day of fishing. That downward incline, I tried it once with the motor, and dude, I was struggling. With my wading boots and stuff, I don't get a good grip in the tailgate, so like trying to pull the Skiff on was a struggle. But you learn as you go, so I try and stay away from boat ramps. And yeah, I feel like I've got a good system now, so it's not, loading and unloading isn't too bad. So the second con, I would say, is this thing is a wet ride. If you get in any little chop, you get in some side chop, you're gonna get soaked. All your gear is gonna get soaked. I have my rods raised, and it doesn't really matter. You're just gonna get wet. There's no getting around it. You're so low to the water, and it cuts through the water really well, but you get sprayed. If y'all have been in some chop on a kayak, imagine that, but like 2 or 3 times worse, because we're going way faster in the Skiff with the outboard. So the third con, I would say, is the way I have mine set up is it's a little hard to chase down some fish. So say I see a school, I only really get 1 or 2 good chances to cast at them. If there's any little wind, if it's blowing 10 miles an hour or more, if I'm in open water, it's a little hard to chase down schools because you don't want to turn on the outboard because you'll spook the fish. So you're stuck with either paddling or poling. And the flats, it poles well, but if you get into some wind and stuff, it can be a little hard to pole. It's a really heavy boat, so that makes it paddling and poling a little more difficult in some wind. When it's glass calm, light winds, it's super easy to pull around. I pull around everywhere, as y'all have seen. In protective waters, it's pretty easy to pull around. So yeah, chasing down fish, I think it's easier to fish out of like a pedal drive kayak or something. You have your pedal drive system there, and you can just pedal as you go. This thing, you don't have that. You could put a trolling motor on the front, but that's more weight. I do not want to add any more weight. And yeah, so that's just the way I have it set it up. Y'all can put a trolling motor on there. You can put a Torpedo or something, but those stuff are kind of expensive also. So next, the fourth con I would say is you have an outboard, so you have maintenance. So you really got to take care of your motor, change your oil as required in the manual, and just do your routine maintenance. You really want to do it because with the Skiff, you're like inclined to go a lot further than a kayak. So I'll probably normally put 10 miles on average on a trip, 5 miles out. You can easily go 15 miles one way because this thing just sips gas. So yeah, maintenance is key because you don't want to be stuck 15 miles away from launch. That would suck. So that's really most of the cons. Other stuff is just kind of nitpicky. It's got a self-belling deck, which is good, but when you put it in reverse and you give it some throttle, all the water is going to come up into the deck. So all your stuff on the deck is going to get wet. So another thing to be careful with, I don't have one on mine, but they sell these like 2-inch transom savers, and they lift the motor up 2 inches so you can cruise in skinnier water. I've done my research and stuff, and I've heard with those that it's great if it's calm and glass, but if you get in some chop and stuff, you can experience some cavitation, which isn't good. Another thing, those Boondocks landing gears, the wheels, got to be careful mounting it on the Skiff because it's plastic, and after a while that plastic will flex, so you need to put like a backing plate and stuff. So yeah, I haven't added that either because that's just more weight to the Skiff. I want to try and keep it as light as possible. All right guys, so another con, I guess, this is kind of being nitpicky, but storage. There's not really a whole lot of storage. You can't really put a milk crate in the back. You can put one up front, but I don't really want to have anything up front because I like to fly fish, so I'm trying to keep the front super clean. The back, like 2.5 feet of the Skiff, like you can't really put anything on it. It's just gonna get wet. You have storage inside, and there's some like exact plastic boxes that I have. I did it in my rigging video, and you can actually use what space is in there really well with those plastic boxes, so check that video out. But yeah, I feel like you have more storage on a kayak. The kayaks nowadays, the very back, the rear, they're huge, man. You have so much storage back there, storage in the front. So it kind of lacks a little bit of storage, but I try and travel light, so it's not really a big deal. All right, guys, so now we're gonna go into pros. But first, if you have any comments, leave them down below. I'll answer every single comment. I might have missed some stuff, but if you have any questions, just let me know and I'll answer them. All right, so now we'll get into the pros. So the first pro, and one of the reasons I got it, is the price, man. This thing, I believe, is super reasonable. The Skiff retails at $18.80, and I think most retailers charge you for freight, and freight's $200, so it's $20.80. Just the Skiff, and then the motor, I believe, I paid $1,500 for it on Online Outboards. So I have a 6 horsepower Suzuki. And yeah, that's around $3,600. So this thing, you can fish out of it just with the plain, just the Skiff and the motor. You have rod holders in here, so you can fish with it. I suggest fishing out of it pretty bare before you add anything. And yeah, the price is just really, really reasonable. Boat Rover, I think you can get the motor and Skiff for a price cheaper than the Boat Rover, just the paddle board. So that's one of the reasons I got it. And then Hobies and pedal drive kayaks, I think most of them around like $2,500 to $3,000. Then you have the new Hobie that's like $5,000, but I think it's a really reasonable price, so that's one of the reasons I bought it. The second pro is this thing opens up a ton of water. You can get to your places a lot faster than you would in a kayak. Having it in the back of my truck, I can launch wherever I want and just motor 5 or 10 miles and be there super fast. Once I get there, pick up the motor, and I can just pull in super, super skinny water. So that's really nice. So the third pro is stability. So this thing is super stable. I'm tall, I'm 6'5", like 220. So I'm not the most coordinated either. So I really needed something that was stable. And this thing is super, super stable. I stand up like 90% of the time while I'm fishing out of this thing. I fly fish from it standing up, and yeah, that was another selling point for me was the stability. So the kayaks nowadays, they're stable, but I don't think they're stable enough for me, my clumsy self. I can stand up in them, but I don't think I would be as comfortable fishing out of them standing up, hooking onto a fish and fighting fish standing up like I can do in this thing. All right, guys, so the fourth pro I would say is durability. This thing's made out of the roto-molded plastic, and it's a beast. It's gotten beat up a little bit. We've pulled and paddled onto some shell and stuff, some reefs, but with it not being fiberglass, with it being this plastic, it really doesn't do any harm. Just a couple scratches isn't gonna hurt anybody. So next, the fifth pro is it's self-belling, like I said earlier. So any water that runs up onto the deck just flows right off. So that's super nice. And the last pro I have, like I already mentioned it, but you can launch this thing anywhere. You can launch it anywhere you launch a kayak. And yeah, it's super nice. So that's pretty much it. If I forgot anything, let me know in the comments below. And I hope this helped if you're thinking about getting a solo skiff, or if you're leaning to a kayak or boat rover or whatever you're looking into. I hope this helped. Yeah, if you fish by yourself a lot, I think this is a really good option. Opens up a ton of water. And yeah, that's it. So I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next video. Later.